Good morning, YouTube family. Happy New Year. Oh my goodness. I wanted to, you guys, I'm sorry. Let me start this over. I wanted to share with you today this great question that a viewer gave me. I'm sorry. I have something going on, of course, again, with this. I am going to make sure nobody, okay, turn on the no disturb. Sorry, you guys, I had a few technical problems this morning, and then I didn't realize that I have a few things turned on here that should not be turned on, but that's okay. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. So, Happy New Year, you guys. I'm so glad you guys are able to join us today. I have a great question that a viewer asked me, and I wanted to share the answer with you because I really think that it could lead to some healing for you and definitely to break that spell that the narcissist has on us, right? It's really important to know. But the question is, can you oversupply a narcissist? So that was really interesting to me. And I'm going to read the question to you guys. But first, I want to tell you what our happies and crappies are about. And I hope you join me in sharing what your happies and crappies are about as well. Today, I wanted to tell you that my crappy actually, let's start with that. My crappies is that maybe it's kind of part of this time of year too, and you guys may be experiencing this. But my crappies are about insecurities. Like suddenly I'm getting bombarded with insecurities. Now, luckily they don't have as much power over me as they used to because I have a few tools in my belt that I am combating those insecurities with. And the number one tool is truth, right? I have to face the truth that these attacks that come to me in my mind are not real. They are fabricated from me, from my own insecurities, right? And questioning myself. So the last 3 mornings, I have woken up with questions about, you know, it's weird because it's not even stuff I was thinking about, but I started comparing myself to where I thought I should be in my life or where my relationships should be, or, and comparing to other people that I imagined were doing way better than I am. And boy, I have not thought like that in a long time. And I was wondering, why in the world am I waking up and thinking these thoughts? And of course, it makes me feel like I don't want to get out of bed. This feels awful. And I'm not happy with myself. And not only am I not happy with myself, I'm actually critical of myself. And I start putting myself down and I start feeling like, uh, how did I get to this place? And then I realized, holy cow, what am I doing to myself? This is not somebody coming into my house and attacking me. This is me attacking myself in my own head. So I wanted to share this with you guys because if you're going through something like that, and then there's a lot of negativity in your mind, a lot of negativity in your thoughts, right? In the way you think about yourself, and maybe even criticalness of others around you, okay? That is coming from a place of insecurity inside of you. That's criticalness. It's coming from a place where you are unsatisfied with something in your life. Now, that dissatisfaction might be real but it most often is fake. We fabricate these insecurities because at a low point, or I guess with the new year, you start to compare, where was I last year? Where are my friends or my family this year? So I want to make sure that I'm actually moving forward. But this is the time that we get attacked, I feel, the most. And this is a time where if you can defeat this and get past this, take that first step to walk through that threshold of negativity, you are going to start off on a really good foot. You're going to be able to be really strong throughout the year because you're going to come back to this lesson again and again throughout the year when negativity hits you, when you feel defeated or the depleted. You're going to remember that this happened at the beginning of the year and you were able to get through it. So I wanted to share with you that was my crappy. I was waking up the last 3 mornings, including this morning, even after I realized what was going on yesterday. And I started feeling really good, feeling really motivated. And then suddenly this morning, I felt like, wait a minute, I had these things I wanted to get done the last 2 days and I didn't get them done. I started losing motivation and losing the momentum of the excitement. So, of course, the self criticism starts coming in, and I start comparing myself to other people and how motivated they look and how much farther ahead I think maybe that they're moving, um, or faster, right? And I realized that's not even true because I'm not sure where they are. Honestly, I'm not sure where they are as far as motivation. I'm not sure where they are as far as what they're doing in their life, exactly that's accomplishing their goals. I just imagine that they're shiny and happy and doing well, so they must be doing better than I am. Well, if you're going through this, you have to stop yourself. You have to combat it. And one of the things I did, and it sounds kind of corny, was this morning in the mirror, I just told myself good things about myself. I told myself that I'm smart. I told myself that I'm capable. I told myself that I can do this and that I'm stronger than I think. I told myself, just things like this you need to tell yourself. And if you have to stand in a mirror and do it, do it. It will break the spell of the negativity. So, you guys, I hope that this will help you realize that no matter how far ahead somebody seems to be, no matter how well put together, no matter how shiny they look on the outside, they too will have insecurities. They will have bumps in the road, and they're going to have to get through those bumps, just like you and I have to get through those bumps. Don't let those bumps overwhelm you and don't let them stop you. They're just speed bumps. That's all. They make you slow down. And once you realize how small the bumps are, because speed bumps are not that big, you guys, right? But and once you step back and you realize this is not a mountain, this is just a speed bump, you start to slowly get over it. You just need to slow down. That's all. Slow down to get over it. Slow down and take the time to affirm yourself and realize that you're doing just fine. The fact that you're getting up, the fact that you are motivated, the fact that you're even here on this channel right now means that you're taking that step forward. Okay? You're taking action. You're making progress. So even if you feel like you were going backwards for a while there, it's okay because sometimes we just got to slow down. Sometimes we need to back up a little bit. Anyway, you guys, that was my crappy, but my happy is you guys. I am so glad that you are here joining me. I am so glad that I have this family that we can connect with together, that we can share together. And one of the topic today actually comes from one of you guys. So this is why I love this environment. I love this channel because you guys have been asking great questions and have made many wonderful, great, insightful comments as well. So that's my happy. I'm just so glad that we have this community. You guys, I'm seeing you're hopping on, so I want to say hello to each of you really quickly. Jihad, good morning. Alpha Goddess, good to see you. And welcome. Janine, good to see you. 10, good morning and Happy New Year. Tara Abba, good to see you. Ah, nice. I'm so glad you're here. And Universe, good to see you. Says, hi, Escape. Wish you a Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to you guys, too. C. Thomas, good morning. Janny says, I want a good and loving girlfriend after the narc experience last year. I am INFP-A and empath. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's is it like a character assessment of your personality? Yeah. So I think it's introvert, so bad feeling. I remember that. I forget what the N is for and the P is for. I'm so sorry. Okay, Alpha Goddess, good to see you again. Says I lost myself in my mind doing that. Yes, what I've done, right? 10 says my ex-narc knows that I am educating about narcissism. Yeah. You know what's weird is they're going to educate themselves too. And last happy crappy hour, someone mentioned that their narcissist is also here, probably here watching, because they're also educating themselves. And that's fine. I welcome that, because I'm hoping that the narcissist, once they see that there is good news, there can be change for their life. Once they see how we see them, maybe they will change. Maybe they'll be willing to put in the work to change their, self-centeredness, stop blaming others for their misery, maybe start to see other people differently and as individuals, right? That's my hope. Alpha says, keep thriving, everyone. 10 says, I feel anxious because I feel losing control because my power secret, what, explored? I'm not quite sure what you mean there, 10. Happy Goddess says, Happy New Year. Good, good. Happy New Year to you guys. Tara Abba says, I love to be with you on your live stream. I'm so glad that you're here. I love it. I love it when you guys come on. I'm glad that you're here too, Tara. Okay. Oh, okay. 10 says, is it considered a big deal if the narc knows that you're of your knowledge? And I think 10 means that, is it a big deal if the narcissist knows you're educating yourself about the narcissism? It kind of, you know what? It kind of, I don't know that it's a big deal, but I do think that the narcissist, hold on, you guys. I'm trying to figure out why this is not showing me a live stream of you guys talking. Oh, there it is. Okay. Why they don't, in a way, it doesn't disempower or unempower you. I don't even know what the word is. Take your power away. What it might do is the narcissist may become more defensive with you. Okay. The narcissist might dismiss what you have to say if they've heard it on the channels, and they think that you're just repeating what the channels are saying. So they won't internalize or accept what you're saying to them. So that's a possibility. But is that a big deal to you if they do that? They're going to do that anyway. They're going to dismiss anything you have to say to them anyway. You're just learning how to spot the things you need to say to them, how to try to talk to them, right? Try to bring up the things and stand up for yourself. Bring up the things that you refuse to take anymore in your relationship. So actually, this is not worse for you just because they know, but you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared that they may completely drop the relationship, because once they know that once they know that you are becoming equipped to handle them and put up boundaries, whether they know how you're finding that out, or whether they're even watching the channels where you're finding that out, I don't think it matters, because they're going to be uncomfortable anyway once they see you put up boundaries, once they see you stop accepting their behavior. So, in fact, maybe, and I don't know that this will happen with a real narcissist, a true narcissist, maybe they'll actually start to work with you if the relationship is important enough for them, right? Once they know, wow, you are serious, you are possibly going to leave or walk out, will they be willing to lose you? So they might actually come to their senses, if you will, and join you in a discussion. Now, I think that happens with people who are not true narcissists. They're just people who are narcissistic and have the kind of wounding that causes them to be very self-centered and self-protective, but they're not true narcissists. They might actually come out and start to behave better in your relationship and stop abusing or using or manipulating, because you're putting it into that. You're putting up these boundaries that says, no more, I'm not going to take that anymore. And if you want me to stay, you have to follow these um, or respect my boundaries and follow certain rules like, and don't feel bad for setting up some rules like, you cannot call me names, right? Like that's a pretty big, and acceptable rule. Anyway, once they see that and they keep calling you names and they keep coming at you, even though they see that on the channels, that's extremely disrespectful and that's not playful and that's not fun to you. If they cannot respect that, then be prepared for them to end the relationship. Well, let me see here, you guys. What are we going on? Oh, okay. Alpha Goddess says, oh wait, what is this? Subliminals? It's like, oh, Cynthia, good to see you. Says it's like shadow boxing with yourself. Yes, what I was saying at the beginning of this stream here is that, I had negative thoughts come into my mind pretty much like when I first woke up. And I have to stop that because, it's really easy to start putting yourself down and comparing yourself to others. And I have a friend who was in sports, and actually a few friends. And I remember their main coach, was awesome. Actually, I think even the assistant coaches would tell them this, that it's not important to beat your competitors in this sport. The coaches wanted them to beat their own record. Like just focus on your own record and beat that. So it's called a personal best or personal record. So if you can if you can beat your own PR, which is the personal record, then you're making progress. And that's what the coaches wanted to see. And I think when we start to compare ourselves to other people, it damages us. It damages athletes too, because it gets overwhelming. And especially if you don't see that you're able to beat this other person, you may give up. So you don't even push yourself harder anymore and you just walk out. But if you're focused on your own personal record, you're going to keep working. You're going to keep trying. You're going to keep getting stronger and keep your eyes off of the other person. If you're focused on your path and moving forward, one day you may not even see your competitor side by side with you. Your competitor might be behind you. So that's how a lot of athletes train. They just stay focused on their own road, on their own path. And that's how I think a lot of athletes also beat records that nobody thought could be beaten. Because they're like, well, I'm just going to focus on myself and my own record, and I'm going to push myself to get stronger to just beat my own record. And before they know it, they beat the world record. And not just that, but they break all these ideas that these records cannot be beat. It's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. Alpha says I had no choice but to walk away from my child's father, who is a malignant, narcissistic sociopath. That is a really horrible, horrible place to be. And I have seen these malignant, narcissistic sociopaths. They are, oh my gosh. I was on a cruise once, a few years ago, and I remember my husband and I were sitting at the table having, I think it was lunch, breakfast or lunch, and there was this couple that was already sitting there, and the husband was so bizarre because this is before I knew about narcissism. The husband was sitting there and kind of weirdly, out of the blue, it seemed to me, but maybe they were having a thing before we got there, started putting down the wife. Actually, he started putting himself down at first, and I don't even remember what the whole conversation was about. They acknowledged us and said hello, good morning, and all that. But then the husband started talking about some stuff that he and his wife were doing, or maybe their life back at home. And then he started getting negative about himself and beating himself up for, oh, I forgot this and that and whatever. And he started saying, what's wrong with me? I can never remember this. And then the wife was trying to soothe him and say, oh dear, it's okay. You're going to, we'll just take care of that, whatever it was. I cannot remember exactly, but she was trying to soothe him and tell him it's not as bad as what he's saying about himself. Like, don't blame himself. But then he turns it to her and starts blaming her. Well, what do you know? And then he says, it's your fault that I did this anyway. And then before we knew it, he was just like demeaning her and putting her down right in front of us. And I was just thinking, what in the world is going on here? But I can see like a malignant narcissistic sociopath kind of is like that. They don't care what's going on in front of other people. They will just attack. And people who are not aware of this sociopathic way of thinking or even narcissistic, because they may not break, and I would assume this guy is quite abusive towards his wife behind doors, like physically as well. But because if he's willing to be verbally abusive like that in front of other people, um, yeah, it's just horrible. So I can understand why you would have to get away from that, because to live with that day in and day out and every moment of the day, and I've been in that situation growing up, it, it is so I, it's so damaging, and not just it's devastating. It just destroys you. So I understand that you had to leave. Oh, 10 says, why don't you appear physically? Because I still have narcissists in my life, and I don't want them to come across my channel, first of all. And second of all, I don't want the flying monkeys of the narcissist to come across my channel and tell them I'm talking about them. And then not just that, but I don't want to bring more drama into my life or the narcissist's life. I don't want to create that. So, but I want to share my experiences with you. I want to be able to share my stories with you about the narcissists that are still in my life, because I'm still learning from them. I'm still observing, and I'm still just amazed at what I find out, how they're living their life. So Rissa says, why do narcs lie about being with someone and hide their new relationship? Well, that's it could be that they're they're still trying to manipulate you. They're still trying to have some control over you. So they want you to believe that they're still connected to you, but they're really pulling away from you already. That, or they're just not prepared yet. Narcissists, some of them, people think that narcissists are these brilliant manipulators. A lot of them are not. A lot of them are just not brilliant manipulators. So they lie and they cheat and they steal and they try to live in this darkness and the shadows to not be caught. That's all. And even if they just don't want the confrontation. They don't want to have to explain to you what happened or yeah. And you have to let them go. Just let them live their life. Let them have their new relationship. If they have moved on, let them move on. Don't throw yourself in there. Don't give them the tools, or don't give them access to you to triangulate you into the controlling you and their new supply. Just let it go. You have to let that go. Yeah. Yeah, good morning, says Amanda. I totally get this behavior. My ex always used friendships in public situations to put me down. He was so much nicer to me in private. Maybe nicer, but no name calling, etc. Okay. They weaponize public situations so that the person can't fight back without also looking bad. Yeah, they use our sensibilities, our sense of consequence to control us, especially in public areas. So they think if I act this way, you're going to submit and not strike back. But in the case with that guy and his wife, I think that she felt so bad for him. You can see this. And I think a lot of us do this with narcissists, and we stick around with narcissists too. It's because we feel so bad for them, and we excuse their bad behavior towards us, and they can be abusive towards us for a while, and we think, oh, we can handle that because we're trying to help them get over their wounds, right? And what ends up happening is we enable their bad behavior by accepting it. And she enabled it by not saying, enough is enough, you don't treat me this way. And I think that's the best thing for a narcissist, or a person who's not a true narcissist, but is narcissistic. If you stand up to them enough and you don't submit to their bad behavior and their abuse, they can change, and they will choose to change if they love you enough and they know that you're this great person, that they're not going to do any better. They will change. But a true narcissist is so sociopathic, I think, that they won't care. And this is where we come. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but I did want to reach all of your comments. Um, this is what brings us back to our topic. Our topic is, can you oversupply a narcissist? And I'm looking at that woman, in the story I just told you, whose husband was putting her down, even though she was trying to soothe him. She's trying to be nice to him. Well, the question here that I got from a viewer, let me just read you the question. Can you oversupply a narcissist? My ex would be hot and cold with people, depending on how they reacted to her. I remember that she would end friendships when she thought people were being too clingy, when they were really just being nice. So my response to this viewer was, yes, I think you can oversupply a narcissist. But let me go into a few things for you guys before I get to the yeah, okay, actually, I'm sorry. I had written down a couple of things, and I'm not sure that I want to bring those out, but I will later. Um, yeah, my thinking was, once they lose respect or value for a person, the supply that person gives them will be worthless or meaningless to them. So that's why even kindness and attention from that person, from that supply, will be irritating to them. Did you catch that? I think that fits really well with the husband and wife that we saw on the cruise, because I'm sure at the beginning the guy was thrilled to have this woman. I mean, she was really pretty. She, I thought she was out of his league, and he probably attached himself to her thinking she's great. And of course, she probably did things for him. She seemed to be a very nice, caring, empathic person, right? She's trying to soothe him when he was putting himself down and criticizing himself. So here she is, feeding him, giving him great supply. And at the beginning, he probably loved that. And he thought she was gorgeous. And so therefore, she had value to him. She was giving value to his life. She gave, she looked good on his arm. She made him feel good about himself. She praised him. She gave him affirmation and attention, right? So this is grade A supply. She's amazing. But then how did it get to this point where he's condescending to her? And while, even in the midst of her being kind to him, in the midst of her soothing and giving him compassion and not even being insulted at his attacks towards her, why would he attack her? Why would he continue to attack her when obviously to the rest of us watching, she's just being wonderful towards him? Well, it's because he lost respect for her at some point down the line. He just simply lost respect for her. And let me explain to you how a narcissist loses respect for you. When you have no boundaries, when you have no expectations of how people should treat you, when you decide that you're going to give everything to the narcissist, no matter how badly they treat you, this is when they lose respect for you. And in a more subtle or a little more shallow arena, I guess, with friendships and not lovers, a narcissist will lose respect for their friends when they get bored with them. When the supply that their friends gave them is, they've outgrown it, okay? So say their friends brought them into a circle of friends or into status, and now they are in that circle of people, and they have influence in that circle. They don't need that friend anymore, no matter how nice that friend was, even if the friend, still was a great person, was still a strong part of the community they just brought the narcissist into. What they realize is that friend is not the leader of the community, therefore they don't need that friend anymore. They want to be closer to the leader of the community. So now that friend is obsolete. It's not needed anymore. So even though the friend is still good supply and could do the same things and would be loyal and would be loving and would give them attention and affirmation, it doesn't matter because they have lost interest in that friend and they have lost respect because they start seeing, and this is, I think, a big part of it. The when the friend starts allowing the narcissist to break dates, right? The narcissist breaks their lunch dates. The narcissist expects the friend to jump and hop when they tell them to jump or hop, and they start seeing this friend as not as influential or as strong as they thought they were. And so even when the friend is being nice to them, they just don't care. It doesn't mean it becomes meaningless to them what the friend is saying to them. Just like this husband um, took the words of the wife, even though her words were kind and supportive towards him, they were meaningless to him. And not just meaningless, it gets to the point where it even becomes irritating to the narcissist. Because when they have lost respect for their supply, they they have no value in what the supply has to give them, has to say to them, the words, the kind actions. That's why this guy's girlfriend says that the her other friends, right, are now clingy. So they see people as needing them when the other people are being nice to them. I know it just sounds like, how can someone think this way? But this is what I've noticed with narcissists. The more I thought about the ones that are in my life and how they have disregarded people, or here's another thing, if that other person actually calls them out on some stuff, if their supply actually starts to put up a few boundaries, like say require them to let them know if they're going to break a lunch date, more than 5 minutes beforehand, if the supply is still kind and nice to them, but has set up some boundaries, narcissists don't like that. So they will also just decide that when you are nice to them, you must be clingy and you must need them. They started losing respect for you when you started putting up boundaries and having expectations of them. And they see you as not as worthy now to be around them because you're not letting them be exactly as they want to be, however they want to be with you. So I know it's the way narcissists respect and the way we respect others is so different. Narcissists want to admire other people and they want to get close to people that they admire. But then once they get close enough to the person they admire and that person treats them as an equal, then the narcissist starts seeing themselves as an equal to that person they admired. And then not only as an equal, they start to surpass that person. So now that person is beneath them and has less value and they respect that person less. And now that person just, to them, when the person is being nice or invites them to things or does nice things for them, they see that person as needing the narcissist and being clingy because that's how the narcissist is. If they need somebody, they are nice to you. They only are nice to you when they need something, right? So when you're nice back to them, they think you're being needy and that you're clinging to them because you want something from them. It's just insanity. And it brings us to another point of why the narcissist does this. Um, it's because they project onto their supply their bad behavior, their horrible motivations, and their self-centeredness. So they can't see their supply as this altruistic, kind, overall, just a good person, right? They can't see you as this empathic person who simply cares because you're an empathic person. They think you're empathic because you must need something, or because you're weak, or because you are trying to get something from them. So they don't see your empathy as altruistic. They don't see your sympathy as kindness or caring of other people. They see your sympathy and your empathy as weaknesses or as a manipulation, because that's how they behave. If they're sympathetic towards you, and I know there are narcissists out there, people will say, oh, they have no sympathy, they have no empathy, but actually, they use it as a tool. It's not true empathy, of course, it's not true sympathy, but they use it as a tool to get people. They use it as a tool to get people to believe they care. And then you think, oh my gosh, they were telling me they feel so sorry that I went through this. They feel so bad for me. They even told me that they went through something that's similar to them, but then they discard you. They throw you away, just like they just identify, whatever trauma you just went through, maybe abandonment, and they tell you that they went through that too, but then they abandoned, I'm sorry, then they turn around and abandoned you. Like, what the heck? They knew exactly what you were struggling with and what your biggest wound is. And here they are imposing the same wounding onto you. And you're like, what the heck? And they were trying to, you thought they were empathetic, but they're only empathetic because they're trying to manipulate you. They're getting their hooks into you. They're trying to get control of you. And you're thinking, although in the meantime, that they actually care. So when they discard you, when they look at you and they think your empathy is fake, it's because their empathy is fake. It's they're projecting onto you their own motivations. So when you think you're doing everything for your spouse, or you're doing everything for your lover, or your friend, or your boss, and you're like, man, I'm like the best employee they have, and why are they continually bypassing me and wanting to be with these other employees, or giving all these other employees attention, when here I am busting my back trying to do all the work for them, and they know I'm staying late at night trying to, take care of the last minute things they throw on my desk. It's because they have lost respect for you. That's where you have to have some boundaries. That's where it's okay for you to say, oh no, I can't do this because my day ends here and I already have obligations. I'm not, you don't have to move all your outside obligations around in order to take care of them, take care of their fires. And there's a great, oh, what does it say? It wasn't a meme, but it was a little saying that says, your what is it? Your fires are not my fires. Like when somebody has to put out a fire, when somebody creates problems in their work because they missed deadlines and they didn't take the time to do the things they need to do, and they blew off their deadlines, that doesn't become your problem. So their problems are not your problems. You have to let narcissists' problems remain the narcissist problems. That's a really big boundary that, once the narcissist crosses that and dumps their problems onto you and expects you to take responsibility for the narcissist's happiness, or the narcissist's financial stability, or anything at all that the narcissist should be responsible for themselves, if they can place it onto you, they're going to start treating you like a donkey, like a mule, right? A pack mule that has to carry their burdens. And I don't know too many people who look at a mule and think, wow, I really respect that animal. They look at a mule and they think, oh, they're there to serve me. They're there to carry my heavy sacks. And that's the way the narcissist sees people. If you are willing to take on their burdens and their problems, and you're taking on their responsibilities, they're going to see you as a pack mule that they're supposed to just keep putting onto you because, hey, you accept it. You're saying it's okay. And in fact, you're telling them you're happy to do this for them. And so it may look like you're, wow, this grade A supply. You're just amazing to the narcissist, but they lose respect for you. And then they just discard you when the time comes, or when somebody else steps up, or they can move away and they're like, well, I'm done with you, I'm on to somebody else. And you're left wondering, I thought they couldn't live without me because I became such an integral part of their life that they couldn't live without you. Well, the sad thing with narcissists, and for us actually, the sad thing for us is that narcissists, I don't think they ever feel like they can't live without you. They can't live without the things you can do for them. And if they find somebody else who can do those things for them, then they can live without you. So, yeah, that's the hard truth. But here's the good news I want to tell you guys. The good news is once you know this, once you see that the narcissist is just piling more and more junk on top of you, that's when you should wake up. That should be a big wake up call to you. That, if you see the narcissist turning around and blaming you for their unhappiness, right? Blaming you for why you're late to something, or why, oh, somebody wrote that if they got into traffic, actually, it wasn't writing, it was a crime show that I watched where this woman said, of her extremely abusive husband who threatened to kill her multiple times. When they would go somewhere and they run into traffic, he would blame the traffic on her, right? It makes no sense. So that's part of what it looks like when a narcissist piles their burdens onto you. They pile their dissatisfaction, their misery, their frustrations onto you as if you are responsible to take away that frustration, or that you were the cause of that frustration. So when that is happening, know that they have lost respect for you. Know that no matter how much supply you give them, it's not going to be enough. And not only that, it's oversupply. Like the more you give them, the more they will take and the less respect they will give you. So the best thing with a narcissist is you give them a certain amount of supply, but not everything you have. So I hope you see how that has come back to the question, can you oversupply a narcissist? Yes, you can. When you oversupply a narcissist, you enable them. You enable their bad behavior. Being an empath, I think that people generally, if they're an empath, they will criticize themselves for not giving more, for not doing more. And then they feel bad for other people's failures, for the narcissist failures, right? Because they'll feel like, well, why didn't I stop that bad consequence from the narcissist, right? And you start to blame yourself because, first of all, the narcissist is blaming you for why they didn't do as well as they thought they should, right? You got in the way somehow. You're the reason why the weather is bad today, or why there's traffic. You're the reason why there are problems in their life. And it's just insane. You cannot ever be everything for the narcissist. What that will do instead, all this supply that you try to give them, all that will do is enable and empower them to be even worse. So that's why a lot of times in my shows or in the live streams or in my videos, I try to get people to stop enabling the narcissist. And I know nobody wants to believe that they're an enabler of bad behavior, but when you don't have boundaries, when you don't have expectations that somebody should be respectful towards you, these are good expectations. These are not outlandish, selfish, destructive expectations. These are good and true and solid expectations that everybody should have of each other, right? We should respect one another. But for some reason, a lot of times, empaths do not require others to respect them or be respectful of them. And that's where I want to help you see when a narcissist starts taking your supply for granted, starts taking you for granted, starts demeaning you, starts stepping over these boundaries, it won't matter how much supply you give them. And in fact, the supply that you give them becomes irritating to them. They hate it when you do more things for them because they think, remember, they're projecting onto you that you're doing this to manipulate them, to get on their good side, to appease them, and to apologize for what they're blaming you for, right? Like they take that as you submitting to them because you were in the wrong. And that's why you're being so nice now, because you realize you were wrong to have caused the traffic or you were wrong to have made them late when they themselves made themselves late, right? They only count the things that you did getting out the door is what made them late. They won't count the thing that they did, such as they don't remember where they left their keys, so they spent a good 10 minutes looking for their keys. Yeah, that doesn't count. But the 5 minutes that you took putting dishes away, or the 5 minutes that you took letting the dog out before you left the house, that's why you're late. It's not them taking 10 minutes to look for their keys that they misplaced. It's you doing other things in the house that causes the both of you to be late. They don't see their part of it. So when you accept that and when you are nice to them, regardless of how badly they're treating you, then they think that they were right. They think that, see, you're being nice to me because you were wrong. You caused us to be late. So now you're trying to make it up to me. That's enabling the narcissist. It's so twisted. I know it is completely twisted. But narcissists are abusive, self centered people who cannot see the good in other people. They just don't, because they project themselves onto other people. So if they're projecting themselves onto you, they can't see you as a good person. They can't see that you're altruistic or caring because they're not altruistic or caring. There have been people to say that you cannot give what you don't have. And I think that's true. If you have no respect for, I don't know about the respect for yourself, because people who are empathic tend to give respect to people but they don't give respect to themselves. But narcissists who don't have it in them to be empathic cannot see in others that they're really good people who are just empathic. So crazy. So crazy, guys. So let me catch up on some of your comments here and see what you think. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, I went. Okay, let me go back up here quite a bit. Oh, oh. I'm just accepting some of the reviewed comments that YouTube has held back. I'm not quite sure why YouTube held it back. Somebody just said nice to see you, and they held that comment back, which doesn't, for my review, that is, and to accept. Sorry, you guys, I don't want to repeat the same ones I already read, so I'm just trying to catch up. Okay, C. Thomas says, still trying to find myself after 2019, a year of being discarded. Hopefully, I would see more of a change this year. Yeah, you will. You will see changes in yourself. And just keep taking one step at a time, one step forward. Even if you take a step back, it's okay. You're going to still keep moving forward, okay? Sorry, you guys, I had to take a drink of water there. So Alpha Goddess says, hi, beautiful soul. Thank you for your help. Heart, heart, heart. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, yeah. C. Thomas says they cannot be consistent enough to change. My ex would try when boundaries were up, but left instead. They don't like boundaries. Yeah, because it's work. It's work for them to change themselves in order to respect your boundaries. Rissa says, why do narcs lie? Oh, okay. I already read that one. Sorry. Amanda, good to see you. Says, I totally get this behavior. My ex always used friends in public situations to put me down. Oh, I did read this one already too. He was so much nicer to me in private. Yeah. But she's saying maybe nicer as in not calling her names, but probably not as nice in other ways. Yeah. C. Thomas says they like to go back and forth in relationships and they live secretive lives. I will absolutely agree with that. So, one of the reasons that they won't talk about their current relationship with you or admit that they've moved on or have a current relationship is because they keep everything in the dark. They want to be able to be in control. So, they're not going to bring out everything in out front. A lot of narcissists won't do that. The ones that do, like the ones that will post new pictures of their new supply and they're running around having the best life ever, is what it looks like, right? They do that because they're manipulating in a grandstanding way. They want an audience. They want people to notice that they're doing great. They want people to be jealous of them. Now, there are other narcissists that their their mode of operation, right, is not to grandstand, but to manipulate quietly behind the scenes. Those are a little bit more covert narcissists, right? They're not going to just blurt out that they're in all these relationships because covert narcissists and overt narcissists behave and have different types of motivations, outwardly, that is. Yep. Oh, okay. I went a little bit too far forward. Hold on. Alpha says she's correct. When my son was born, I informed my ex, told him I wouldn't put him on child support since he was showing initiative towards him. 2 months later, he ghosted us and denied my son and smeared you. Yeah. So, what happened there is that she didn't even require the narcissist ex to pay child support for their son. She was being nice to him, right? She gave him leeway and she was being considerate. She was going to try to do this on her own and she wasn't going to burden the narcissist. But instead of instead of appreciating that and instead of continuing to take initiative and be there for their son like he was at the beginning, he just took it for granted and moved on, denied his own son, ghosted them, and then started smearing her. That's what narcissists do when you don't hold them to what they're responsible for, when you let them off the hook of their own consequences, right? Let them off the hook of their responsibilities. Then they just shift the responsibility to you. But not only that, but they will also lose respect for you. And yeah, and that's what happened in that situation. Universe says, I understand all my faults. That's good. Once you understand where you need to change or things that you need to improve for yourself, a lot of it is self criticism, by the way. Once you can get past that, once you can, and the biggest thing to do to get past that, by the way, is to stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop looking side to side. Only look forward on your own path. Are you moving forward on your path each week, each month, right? And in some cases, each day? Are you getting out and making some small change? Or sometimes big changes are great, but if you can make a small change each day, even if you think, oh, but I'm just repeating myself each day, well, keep repeating the good. keep taking the same steps over and over again until you get comfortable and strong enough in that place. Then you can take the next step. All right. So once you know what your faults are, that's great. Now stop comparing yourself to other people and where they are, because when you do that, you're going to take away your own power. You're going to take away the momentum that you had moving forward because you're looking side by side. You're not looking at your goal. You're not looking at your own personal record and what you're going to surpass. So I'm hoping, universe, that you are doing that. Universe also says I was thrown like garbage. Yeah. And that's what narcissists do. And, the question for today came from somebody who couldn't understand why, right? That a narcissist would throw away good supply. And good supply is somebody who keeps giving and giving and giving, right? And that's why I say you can oversupply a narcissist. Yeah, they love attention, they love adoration, they want you to ask for their opinion. But once they lose respect for you, uh, once they know they can walk and trample all over you, even when you give them attention and affirmation, they'll see it as irritating. And if you should ask them for their opinion, which they love to give their opinion, right? But once they've lost respect for you and you're asking for their opinion, that irritates them. Now they're mad. Now they feel like, why in the world are you trying to be so clingy to me? And that's what was going on with the viewer's girlfriend and why she treated the people in her life like that, because she just lost respect for them. She probably realized that she didn't need their status anymore, or whatever supply they gave her. She probably realized that they're willing to do anything for her, so now they're not as wonderful and great and strong as she thought they were. So she's gonna not care whether they give her attention now. And in fact, she sees their attention as clingy, as manipulating, trying to manipulate her, because this is what she does when she gives people attention. I have a video that says it's about projection, and it says something like, if you want to know what the narcissist is thinking, just watch them. Watch how they behave, or listen to them. Just listen to them, because they will show you exactly how they feel inside by the way they complain about other people. So whatever they're saying about other people, this is what they think themselves. If they think the other person is clingy when they're being nice, that's what the narcissist is. When the narcissist is nice to you, they're not actually caring about you. They're doing it because they need something from you. They're being needy and clingy towards you because they need you in their life for some reason. So that's why they're nice to you, to keep you there until they get the supply they want or need, right? So if you want to know what a narcissist thinks, or what they're really thinking, just listen to what they say about other people. I'll go ahead and post that, or put that video on the little eye icon to the right of the screen after this video uploads, you guys. Okay. Yeah, Alpha says zebras don't change their stripes. Just be real. Hi, good to see you here. Ah, says aloha. So hopefully you guys are joining us from Hawaii. I don't even know what time it is there. That's awesome. Oh, just be real says, oh, I was an enabler. But when I tried to set boundaries, she hit the ceiling. Yes, yes. That is how, yeah. They do not take kindly to boundaries. They don't like to have to be respectful towards people. Yeah, it's insane. Alpha says, saw my ex on November 8th. He got out of the car to approach me. I smiled and walked away, not giving him any on my energy. Oh, of my energy. This experience was the best lesson learned for self-love. Yes. Alpha, you know what? I hate to say it. I mean, but sometimes we do have to shut the narcissist out. It's just, you have to go no contact. The narcissist may even be coming towards you looking like, they're smiling, they're happy to see you. But if you have gone through this with a narcissist and you know that they've discarded you already and maybe multiple times, and you know what they're like in your relationship, you're completely aware and sober to the fact that they are not good for you. They're not good in your life. They're not going to bring anything good into your life. And here they are coming at you as if, oh, good to see you. You know what? It's sad, but sometimes you have to just pretend like, oh, I didn't see you, and just walk away. It's, you know, if you're at that point where you are not completely healed yet, and you're not ready to talk to them, and you're not ready to even be cordial with them, then I would say go ahead and just turn and go, because otherwise it's just going to pummel you down. And I think Alpha is right about this. This is about self-love. It's not about hating on the other person. It's not about rejecting them and trying to make them feel bad. It's about you not being ready to take this. You're not ready to, interact with them. You're not ready to deal with them, because you are learning how to care about your own heart. You're learning how to care about your own feelings. And so in order to do that, you have to protect yourself and go no contact with the narcissist. I got to say, I did do this one time too, but it came from a weird prompting. We were close to each other, and this narcissist was so excited to see me. And at this point, I was done, because the narcissist had ghosted me for, I don't remember how many months it was at this point. It might have been 1 month at that point. And I thought, you know what, friends, and we were friends. I thought, friends don't do this to each other. So it really hurt. I even contacted the narcissist to say, hey, friends don't do this. We're supposed to be in each other's lives through good and bad, not just for the good. But heard nothing back. And then I see the narcissist, holy cow, coming at me like, oh, they can't wait to talk to me. And I know the thing, they can't wait to tell me how great their life is going. And, and they know that I care about them. So they want to get that affirmation, get the attention, get the supply from me, and then ghost me again. I know that's what's coming. So when they were coming right at me, ready to, to interact with me, I was like, no, I just can't. So pretty much I swerved them. I just went another direction and got the heck out of there. And it was so obvious to them that I did this. It made them mad. So this person uh threw a tantrum and on their way out. So I was like, wow, okay, you know what? Look, you treated me pretty badly. You ghosted me. Even within our friendship, you treated me like, you stood me up on meetings and stuff like that, and you didn't call me back. And I just thought, what the heck? This was not a relationship. So I don't owe you something. I don't owe you my more of my attention. But the narcissist doesn't see it that way, of course. They think that, hey, they were nice to you. They were coming to say hello. How dare you not say hello back to them? No, you don't have to. And I was in a place at that point where it was still sore. The wound was still sore. And I got to tell you, a couple years later, I'm thinking, I really don't want to run into this narcissist either. If I run into this narcissist again, I probably will still swerve them. I probably will still avoid them, because I just don't see the good in bringing a person like that back into my life. A user, someone whose only intention in my life is to use and take from me. So, once you realize that's someone's limitation or their expectation in your relationship, it's okay to say no. It's not mean. You're not like going around. And this is another reason why I do this anonymously, because if my face were on the screen, they would know exactly who they were. And they may get really mad. And other people that I know are mutual acquaintances and friends will probably know who they are. So I just don't want to put the spotlight on that. And I don't want to bring more drama into either of our lives. So this is why I stay anonymous. So you guys, let me see here. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, you guys, if you do curse in the comments, YouTube will hold it back, and I'm not going to put cursing or yeah in here because then YouTube restricts my video. It's not because oh, I'm all what is it? Critical of people who curse. It's that YouTube won't allow it, and or if you allow it onto the comments as a YouTube um, YouTuber, I guess, then your channel or this video will get restricted. Yeah. Oh, Talitha, good to see you. Says, I never heard a narc throw away a good supply. This is the first time. Oh, yes. Narcissists throw away good supply pretty regularly, actually. So if you're one of these uh, people who've had a narcissist discard you, and you're wondering, you blame yourself and you think, I must not have done the right things, or I wasn't as good a friend, I wasn't as good in bed, I wasn't as good, whatever it was that the narcissist says that they left you for. Um, know that sometimes it's just because they lost respect for you. And the way they lose respect for you is because you allow them to do whatever they want with you. So that's why they treat you so badly. And at some point um, when they have lost respect for you, they find you very irritating if you continue to give them supply. I mean, you can be an incredible person with a great job, and I've had people come on and say this as well, by the way, that they were a great provider, they were they have a good job, they're attentive, they're kind, they were romantic with their narcissist. They, but then the narcissist runs off with somebody else. Yeah, so the narcissist does discard good supply. And I had talked about this one video I had seen. It's a crime show where this woman had this wonderful guy in her life who, uh, yeah, this is, these crime shows, they teach me so much actually about human behavior. And this is why I watch them. But this woman, she was living with her boyfriend who was this amazing guy who was kind and gentle and sweet, and he helped her take care of her two kids. They weren't even his children, right? So he would treat her two kids like they were his own children. He would read to them at night, he would cook them dinner, he would help them with their homework. um, and then she got into a relationship, into an affair with a next door neighbor. And this guy, of course, swept her off her feet and was just very passionate with her and pretty much took her, right? And pretty soon she kicked out the boyfriend that she was living with and had this torrid relationship with the next door neighbor, who then moves into her place, treats her kids like crud, right? That just was mean to her kids. Her kids did not like this guy at all, the second guy. They loved the first guy. The second guy, they were afraid of him and they didn't like him at all. But she was, of course, enthralled with the second guy, who was a total sociopath. He then starts, he'd been a criminal. She didn't, and when she learned that, she was like, oh, okay. She just accepted it, right? Even though she didn't want to be involved with a criminal beforehand, but now that she's caught in this life with him, she's accepting it, right? There's your first step of lowering your boundaries, right? There's your first step for her of enabling him. So once he realized, oh, she's fine with me doing my criminal stuff, now he's going to up the ante. He's going to be even more of a criminal. He started not just dealing drugs, he started abducting people. Yes, He would abduct people to try to rob them, get them to go to ATMs and take out money, right? So he had her drive a car where he and a friend of his were abducting this person to rob them. So now he's pulled her into his criminal life. So another boundary, just completely demolished right there. So then she drives the car and they rob the guy, they take him to an ATM, they get some money, and then they're like, well, what do we do now with this guy? He knows what we look like. And her boyfriend says, all right, we got to do away with him. We got to shoot him. And she's like, no, wait a minute, what? And thank goodness that's one boundary she was not willing to cross, and she refused to allow them to do that. And she got into an argument with them while she's driving and insisted, I can't remember how or why, but she was able to get them to release this guy. So they released this guy. And in the end, what she says is that, whether she's a narcissist or not, but this is how narcissists are, she completely discarded the first guy who was grade A supply. He was wonderful. He was everything she needed and wanted in life. And even she said at the end that, she wished she had stayed with the first guy, because then it would have prevented her from going to jail for 6 years of her life and missing out 6 years of her kids' lives. It would have prevented her from ending up, up in the life and lifestyle of the second guy. So people do get rid of grade A supply, and narcissists especially will get rid of grade A supply because they're only interested in that supply for a time. So oh, wait a minute. Boy, I'm missing some of these comments. Sorry, you guys. Let me go back. Uh-oh. I'm trying to do the comments on my computer. Oh, yeah. Talitha says, kindness in a world of narcs is taken as weakness. Yeah, it is. It is. And yet they expect. Oh, Kathy, good to see you, by the way, says, a great post that you provided is classic, how to keep a narc. Yeah, I can also post that in the eye icon later. It was a good one. It's a letter that I read that's posted. Oh, okay. Kathy says, please repost it as it may be helpful to some. Oh, I wonder how I can repost. Okay, I might just do that. Oh, you know what? I gotta see. How do I repost? Huh. Yeah. I'll try to repost it because you're right. Sometimes YouTube hides the videos, not hides them, but buries them and doesn't recommend them anymore because they're older. But some of the messages, I think a lot of the messages that I have in my videos are really good to be repeated and be reminded of. So thank you for mentioning that, Kathy. Oh. Somebody is at my door, but they're going to have to wait. Alpha says he married the side chick who was married, and they had twins 2 months younger than my son. I tried to be nice since he was already on child support for 4 children. Oh, yeah, yep. I actually have a friend who did the same thing. She did not require child support from her child's father, and because he was also on child support, he had to pay child support for another child before. Yeah, and that, you know what, it doesn't end well. Now she is going after him for child support, so we'll see. We'll see. Hold on. Just going through some of the comments, you guys. Okay, C. Thomas says, once they get the supply, they'll be nice to you, then treat you bad afterwards. That was my ex when he needed money. Yeah. Yeah. Talitha says, yeah, they don't like to be thankful or respectful. No, they don't have gratitude. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Rissa says, why do narcs seem they are more into the new person than they were with you, although you gave them so much more support to them? Well, I hope that this video, today's talk, explained that to you, because once they have lost respect for you, or once they've gotten everything they wanted from you, and also once somebody new comes along, so this is now fresh for them. You're no longer fresh. The supply that you gave, they've gotten used to it. They've gotten used to all the great and wonderful things you do for them. Now they're excited by somebody new who does different things for them, or things in a different way for them. So that's why, even though you're still a wonderful person, and that's why I want to tell you it's so important not to compare yourself with others, because comparing yourself to the new supply, for instance, is only going to make you feel worse. Um, and even if the new supply, the new supply is not better than you, the new supply maybe is not as attractive or as stable or as successful as you are, it'll only make you feel worse, because you're going to wonder then what else is wrong with you, that why, that made the narcissist leave you. And you're only going to try to find this fault, or this, horrible thing that you believe must be inside of you. And sometimes it's just that the narcissist is a jerk, and they move on from people to people because they get bored, or they lose respect, and they, for you, and they just don't care. So don't take that too personally, is what I guess I'm trying to say. All right, you guys. Yeah, Jihad says, Alpha, if we all knew the type of person our ex was, we would never have gotten with them or had children with them. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, you guys. Well, our hour is up. I just want to make sure, though, that I've gotten through all the comments. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you're having a great new year, that it's starting off well. But if it isn't starting off well, know that you're not alone. If you were here at the beginning of this happy crappy hour, you would have heard my crappy, which was each morning this for the last 3 days, I woke up with this self criticism and self, I don't know, it just was feeling so negative, and I had to stop that. I had to stop myself from continuing to think that way, because it was going to rob me, and I was actually getting kind of frustrated at myself, like, why am I starting off the year like this? This is terrible, right? Why? Yeah, I thought that this would be like and I kind of feel like this is going to be an amazing year. 2020 is going to be an amazing year. I know that there are going to be hardships. There's going to be pain. There's going to be some negative stuff that happens in 2020, but that's okay, because that's part of life. The best thing about 2020 is that we are going to be stronger. We're going to know better how to spot a narcissist, for one, and two, when somebody is in our life and we're not sure that they're a narcissist, we'll be able to at least spot when they're being manipulative and when they're being disrespectful, and be strong enough. Well, you guys, let me see here. Ah, oh, I'm missing a few comments here. Let me see. Oh, I'm missing a lot of comments. So apparently my computer might have stalled, because I am not getting everything on here. Oh, Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. My computer froze, so I wasn't seeing some of these comments. Ah, yeah. Kathy says, throughout this relationship, I kept saying to myself, then to him, this is not me. In other words, I gave and gave everything, including myself. Hard lesson to learn and accept, but necessary. Yes, thank you for sharing that, because that's what we end up doing. And then we feel shame. We feel ashamed that we gave in as much as we did, or that we did the things that wasn't part of us. Like this woman I was telling you about on the crime show, who went on this crime spree with her boyfriend. That's not her. She's a mom, and she's a kind person, and she's smart, and she had a job, and she's had a good job. She was taking care of her children well, and then she goes on this crazy crime spree with her new boyfriend. That was not her. She had to pay the consequence of that, though, right? She had to pay for the decision to go with him and do what and get involved with him. But once she paid for that, then she realized she needed to get back on track. And that's what we can do. We just get back on track. And life is not over. There's so much good stuff ahead of us. So many good decisions we still have to make. And that are going to lead to really good things in our life. And that's what I want you guys to be prepared for. Be prepared for the good things that are coming your way by making sure you know how to make good decisions as well. Don't hold yourself back from making good decisions. Don't give into people's manipulations. Okay, you're not required to allow people to treat you badly. All right, if they're treating you badly, it's okay for you to walk away. It's okay for you to say, hey, no, I'm not going to accept that. And it's okay for you to go no contact. That's what I want you guys to know. Well, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to let you finish off a couple of comments that you have with each other, conversations that you're having. And I want to just catch any of the last, I usually forget to catch the last few comments that you guys make. So let me see what you have here. Oh, someone says Neva. Oh, or not Neva, Neva. Neva again. Good to see you, by the way. Says, what does the narc get out of humiliating others? Oh, yeah, the narc is to feel like, they're in charge and, have power over you. Tara Abba says, I don't want to look back. You gave me good advice a few days back. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad. Yeah. So thankful for you guys. Jihad says, continue to improve yourself every day and make yourself a better person regardless of what you went through. Heal and become better for yourself. Don't just be somebody's supply. That's the other thing I want to share with you guys before we leave. Don't just be supply for somebody, okay? When you see that someone is not grateful for what you're giving them, stop giving it to them. You're not obligated. You're not obligated to be somebody's supply. And I think that's a really good litmus test, by the way, or a boundary to set is when somebody is not grateful for what you bring to the relationship, if they're not grateful for you, if they don't appreciate what you're doing in the relationship, then get out, get out of that. There's no need to stay for them to continue to use you until they're done with you and then decide to discard. You are not just somebody's supply. You're an entire person, for yourself. And you deserve to live a life that that's fulfilling. That's fulfilling to you, and where you can bring other people into your life or be a part of other people's lives where you're making a difference. Now, to a narcissist, we really don't make a difference, by the way. We can only enable, we can empower them, but sadly, what we end up doing is empowering them to do terrible things, empowering them to behave badly. We're empowering them to take advantage of other people, just like that woman did when she gave into that guy next door, right, who was the criminal, who took her on a crime spree with him, completely disregarding her safety or her freedom, right? He didn't care that she went to jail, but she she empowered him by giving into his, allowing him to overstep all these boundaries that she did have before meeting him. And we don't have to do that. We don't have to empower the narcissist. So I hope that this video has helped. I hope you guys got something out of the lesson today, and you understand that being good supply is not your goal in life and should not be your goal in life. And you can oversupply a narcissist. You can give them everything that you have, and yet they're going to see that as irritating. They're not going to appreciate it. They're going to take it for granted. And that's why you don't have to stick around with people who are taking you for granted, who don't appreciate what you bring to the table or into the relationship. And I hope you guys realize that you have value. You do. You have value apart from the narcissist. It's the narcissist who doesn't give you value or value you. So you want to pull yourself away from people like that, so that your value is worth giving to somebody else, so that you can make a difference in somebody else's life who's going to be grateful for you. So you guys, I hope that you have a great year. I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you again next week. Many blessings to you, and I wish you lots of healing and hope and joy and laughter. Don't forget to laugh. That is the biggest thing in my life right now, and always really is laughter. So enjoy a good laugh. If you want to, go to my playlists, and you'll see some comedians that I've added to. Laughter is Healing, I think, is the name of the playlist, or comedy, something like that. So enjoy, and I will add more to it. Okay, blessings to you guys.